Welcome back to another Explainer by Forge College. In our last lesson, synthesis, integration strategies, and next steps, we made sure our code didn't just instantly break the second it hit the blockchain. But today we're leveling up. We're moving from asking, does it work, to does it actually survive the wild west of the Solana mainnet? We're diving into framing Solana dApp case studies to prove exactly which design choices actually matter for your users out in the real world. So here is our blueprint for today's explainer. 1. From anecdotes to evidence. 2. The field study metaphor. 3. The case study workflow. 4. Testing marketplaces A and B. And 5. Framing your outcomes. Let's jump right in. Section 1. From anecdotes to evidence. Moving beyond vibes. Okay, listen, for way too long, Web3 has basically relied on what I like to call vibes-based architecture. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Someone posts a cherry-picked screenshot of a single blazing fast transaction on Twitter, and suddenly, boom, it's the new industry standard. We absolutely have to abandon that. We're swapping out those trust me bro anecdotes for controlled field studies. We want reproducible metrics, explicit schemas, and cold auditable data, not just one lucky trade. Section 2. The field study metaphor. Adopting a researcher mindset. Now, it's honestly kind of amazing how perfectly traditional scientific concepts map right onto our Solana integration artifacts. Think about it. In a lab, you have a hypothesis. In Web3, that's your explicit claim about a metric. Control variables? Well, those are your exact RPC endpoints and client versions. The treatment is simply your code diff. The outcome maps your raw, aggregated metrics. And reproducibility, that's your step-by-step test scripts. It is literally the scientific method just applied directly to the blockchain. But look, we gotta be completely honest with ourselves here. A live Solana mainnet environment is definitely not a pristine, fully controlled lab. You've got background noise, insane network congestion, and a bunch of other actors creating all sorts of unpredictable variability. Honestly, it's a bit like trying to conduct a highly delicate chemistry experiment in the middle of a heavy metal mosh pit. And that, right there, is exactly why having a strict, documented methodology is absolutely crucial. It's the only way to separate the true signal from all that network noise. Section 3, the case study workflow, our step-by-step protocol for data-driven case studies. Here is the prescriptive 5-step workflow we really hammer home across all our programs at Forge College. First, define your scope and hypothesis. Second, set your criteria and metrics. Third, gather the evidence. Fourth, analyze and visualize that data. And fifth, frame your outcomes. If you follow this strictly, it stops scope creep dead in its tracks. We're not guessing anymore. We are pursuing absolute engineering truth. Section 4. Testing marketplaces. An A versus B showdown. All right, let's meet our contenders. Both of these marketplaces are targeting the exact same user demographic, and they support the same token standards, but their architectural guts are fundamentally different. Marketplace A uses client-side order construction, relying heavily on indexed metadata. Marketplace B, on the flip side, utilizes a server-side order book with a batched settlement approach. Now, they both sound super capable on paper, right? But we don't care about paper. We want to know which one actually performs better for the end user in reality. So here's our formal hypothesis. Marketplace A's index metadata reduces the end-to-end NFT browse-to-buy time by at least 20% under 500 concurrent users. Notice how specific that is. It's not just a feeling or a guess. It's a highly testable claim that gives us a primary metric and a strict pass-or-fail success threshold. To actually test this claim, we unleash a simulated load test, generating 3,000 synthetic purchase attempts. During this absolute barrage of traffic, we're vacuuming up very specific evidence to validate our claim. We collect synthetic browser traces for UX timing, transaction signatures, confirmed block times straight from the RPC logs, and program log excerpts just to catch any instruction-level errors. Every single thing is timestamped, and the environment is perfectly documented. And here is the climax of our whole experiment. Look at this. At the 95th percentile, Marketplace A clocks in at 4.2 seconds, while Marketplace B is lagging behind at 5.8 seconds. Because Marketplace A used indexing and caching, it successfully dodged those repeated RPC fetches. This visually validates our hypothesis with cold, hard numbers. That is a massive, massive win for the user experience. And, the difference is honestly just as stark when we look at system reliability. Marketplace A had a tiny 0.8% failure rate, mostly just transient timeouts. But Marketplace B? It had exactly double that at 1.6%. Why? Well, when 500 users try to settle all at once, Marketplace B's server-side batched architecture basically trips over its own feet due to contention during that peak concurrency. Section 5, Framing Outcomes. Documenting reality. Okay, having the data is great, but now you gotta put your lead scientist hat back on. You absolutely must explicitly document your limitations. Maybe your sample size was constrained. Or, actually, maybe your test time windows were just relatively short. You also need to list alternative explanations. Like, what if the RPC providers were just acting up that day? What about CDN behavior? Presenting a really honest report with these uncertainty ranges doesn't make your study weak. It builds immense trust with your stakeholders. It shows you're hunting for the truth, not just pushing a narrative. You should always ask yourself this critical question. How do these observed outcomes actually map back to concrete dApp design principles? Challenge yourself to causally link your data back to core concepts like state layout, account compression, or instruction batching. Don't just assert that architecture A is faster than B. Explain the underlying physics of exactly why it's faster, based purely on the evidence you collected. So as a next step, before we jump into our upcoming lesson on comparative analysis, I've got a little challenge for you. I want you to draft your very own one-sentence hypothesis and a simple measurement plan for 2 Solana dApp integrations you currently have access to. It's time to get your hands dirty with this framework. Look, the ultimate secret to making all of this work is the reproducibility manifest. By recording your exact environment variables, you ensure your case studies are absolutely bulletproof. So I'll leave you with this. If your favorite dApp's architecture was put under the microscope today, what hidden bottlenecks do you think you'd discover? To explore more advanced methodologies and continue your Web3 journey, be sure to visit us at forge.college. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.